Good evening everyone, welcome back to DTR with Division 3. We're in Canada today, looking pretty sunny, which the drivers will be delighted about, I'm sure. One day I will get good at managing this menu, but until that day you'll have to watch me just mucking around with it. God, did I pick the first driver out? No, it's just lucky that he was first on the list. So Bassett's first out of the pits. If you've watched me at all this season, you'll know that we'll stick on board with the first driver out the pits. God, he's already cut the pit lane. Nothing further needs to be said about that. Just don't do it in the race, my friend. Yeah, so we'll stick on board with Bassett. We'll talk you through the lap. Then we'll jump on board with some of the other contenders and we'll see what sort of times people are posting. If you want a prediction for the times, I think an exceptional lap would be in the 109s. I think we'll be very lucky to see that today. We'll definitely be in the 110s though. 110s, that's the bar I'm setting for you Div 3 boys. So let's see how we get on. A couple of football matches going on today, but I don't think anyone specifically needs to keep up to date with them, so I'll probably stay quiet on that front. But anyway, we are making our way down the final, well, is it the final straight? There's a big old chicane in the middle of this straight. So I suppose it is the final straight. The Wall of Champions, and Bassett is off to start his first lap of the day. So you're going to start with a sweeping left-hander. You can see this is where the pit exit is. You can see the McLaren coming out. Quite a slow, tricky right-hand corner. And then again you come down into a chicane. Again, keeping the car, swinging it left for the next right-hander, and then a long left-hander again. This is quite tricky, and as you turn right out of this corner you can lose traction. You can see that Bassett just gets a bit of a wobble there. It's really hard to get your foot all the way down on the accelerator. Again, come up to another chicane for a small straight, sort of bends round to the left into the final hairpin. You start coming back on yourself, and this is the end straight with a chicane slap bang in the middle of it, the Wall of Champions after it, and then you come down the pit straight to complete the lap. So it's quite a short lap. We'll have quite a few laps of racing, and that was perfectly done. Keeps two tyres on the track at all times, so it doesn't invalidate, and we're in the 110s already. Can we see a 109 tonight? I think that would be huge if we did, but a 110.8 is a great start, and Alex just behind him posting a 10.9. We have a Ferrari on his out lap, an invalid out lap. Is someone on a lap? Ah, Kazingle's just started one, so let's jump on board with him. So he makes his way round sector 1. Let's go on the off-board and see if we get some good camera angles through the chicane. That was a good angle. You can just see how close he gets to the wall there, as he has got his ERS light flashing. So I think he's pulled out the lap. I wonder if he just got a bit unsettled. So what about that McLaren behind him? Can I pick that up? It's not Arthansiu, so it must be Marshmallow. Yeah, it looks like he's on a hot lap. So let's jump on board with him. Coming down to complete. Oh, and he's spun sideways. So I think he just got a bit too much curb, which I'm well weighted. I think there's another car coming. Get out of the way. I think he has. Yeah, so might have just collected a bit too much curb there, which unsettled the car. Right, who else can we join? We've got a Mercedes, coming around that final bend. Is he on a hot lap? And oh, we've got someone out. That's Alex on his in lap. Strange one. But it looks like Kalitsos is also saving his Earth, so he's not on a lap. Who is on a lap? Oh, we've got Rishi in the Red Bull. He's invalidated, so we can't watch him. Maggot, he's on a fast lap. There we go. Sector 2, wing open. What's Maggot going to do today? After that crazy race in Hungary, Not even sure I can remember exactly what happened, but I know the rain came very, very quickly, and it was all the person that jumped on the Inter tyres very quickly. It paid dividends for. She was not actually here who won that race from absolutely nowhere, and with 6 seconds of penalties. And I'm sure, if I remember rightly, Bassett was the first one of the actual leading group to pit and actually ended up getting on the podium. I think he came second. And Mag actually recovered for 5th, I think, just from memory, but I'll go back and check the results at some point. But anyway, Maggot's coming over the line. It's in a 1:11.2, so he's going to need to improve. Guna's since put in a 1:11. Huss has put in an 11.5. Reliot with an 11.5. Connor with an 11.8. Evan with a 12.2. He's picked up the pace recently, so I'm sure we'll see an improvement from him. Let's see if Kazingo actually went back out on a fast lap. He did. So let's follow him down to the line as he comes up to the chicane and coming through the wall of champions, and there's a spin. There's so many curbs on here that you have to be so careful of, and you can see the cars just having to wait to let some people through. But let's jump on board with his teammate. We've got Felix, who's just, he's really missed the apex there, so I wonder if he'll pull out of that or if he want to just get a time on the board. Doesn't look like he's pulled out of it. His ERS is still going. As if anyone's interested, Man City are 1-0 up already. So that could be a long night for Bristol City. As Felix now makes his way down to the final hairpin. 10 minutes left of the session. 11 if you want to be picky. But Felix now making his way down the back straight. About to come up to the chicane. Will he get through the wall of champions? And you just have to be so stable through that through the left-hand part of that chicane, because you saw what happened to Kazingo, and Felix puts in an 11.2. That's enough for 5th currently. And Alex at the moment will have a little bit of reassurance, but the track will bed in. So if I was going to put I think he could end up seeing himself down in about 6th or 7th by the time all of this sorts itself out. Is Kalixos is not on a fast lap. Stewart is invalid. Kazingo is coming in, so let's join someone that is on an out lap, and we'll go. I mean, we've seen a lap of Bassett, so let's join someone else. Where is Huss on the track? Yeah, Huss will be. Is he waiting? They must be letting Stewart through. So we'll jump on board with Huss and we'll watch his lap. So here we go, he comes over the start-finish line. Best lap so far is 11.5. So we'll need some big gains to break into that top 3 drivers. Comes through sector 1, just going to come up to the timing line now. And he's about a 10th down on his time. So he starts sector 2, this tricky section onto the long straight. He's about to go under the tunnel, which will then move into the chicane. Handles it well. Again, you've got to be careful if you're taking a lot of curb there. We saw what happened to our Thanshu earlier. And we're coming down to the hairpin before one long straight. And again, you have to sort of move around the hump. Open your DRS. There goes his wing. And now he's going to go flat out down to the chicane. We'll stay on board with him to see how he tackles the chicane. You have to cut a lot of the first corner. Bit careful, but he'll just want to get a time on the board. Is he going to beat the 11.5 that he was earlier? It's in the 11th. It's 2/10 down roughly. So it's enough for 6th for now. Is Guna improving on his time? He was on a faster lap. Doesn't look like Bassett's improved. I think he was just in front of him as he invalidates on the final corner. I don't know how much he'd improved by, but in fact it was a very similar time, so maybe just had to take the risk to try and cut a little bit more time off his lap. But Reliot now will jump on board with him, one of the reserve drivers. Let's see how he gets on as he goes around the lap. And there's some reports from some of the drivers that there's going to be some crazy weather, so we'll have to look and see what happens in the race. Although, as Relia actually invalidates, didn't see that from down the bottom. Let's join. Who haven't we seen yet today? We haven't seen Rishi, and he looks like he's attacking this last chicane. Does a really good job, and he's got the pace in him. What can he do? He's a 10.8, so he's knocked Alex out of the top 3. Not quite enough to dislodge Bassett. But yeah, a good solid lap from Rishi. I've had a good battle with Rishi around this track before, so I have no doubt he will get on very, very well today. We've seen a bit of Marshmallow. What about a man like Donkey coming round to complete sector 2? Let's jump on board with him and see what he puts in. As Maggot puts in the fastest lap, just, and we can see the Alpine trying to get out of the way there just by going straight on rather than braking. Maggot, yeah, so actually 2/100ths of a second quicker than Bassett. So Bassett's last run is going to have to be mega. Looks like the first lap he put, that was the first lap of the day that went on. You can see how good that was, considering it's barely been dislodged. And a man like Donkey looks like he's going to put up a pretty respectable time here. It's a 12.1, enough for 12th. You can see that during that Kazingo actually improves quite a lot. He's done a 10.9, so he's up to 5th. Needs a little bit more to move Alex down the leaderboard. And looks like Stuart might be on a lap, so let's jump on board with him. Just missing the apex ever so slightly there. But he's got plenty of time in the tank to find, but the timing board suggesting he's up 2/10ths. But he seems to still be pushing, so I'm not sure how true that is. As Felix puts in the fastest lap of qualifying so far. Wow, a 10.7. Did not see that coming. He has found some pace in the last few weeks. Has he got the race paces? That Red Bull just giving TJ a little helping hand with a bit of a slipstream there. And don't tell me Stuart's invalidated his lap at the very last corner. Again, it's so easy to do it, but that's going to really... And he was a second down on his time. That was huge. That would have given him probably 9th, 10th place. So he's got one more run. He's going to have to be quick about it. And we've got Benny Buno back. Great to see Benny in here. And actually, let's watch the rest of this lap with him. Hasn't been able to race too much this season, unfortunately for him. But great to see him out and racing again. As he makes his way down the straight. And here he comes through the chicane, keeps it clean, does not invalidate, and he's going to come over. And what is his time? Looks reasonably good. It's an 11.3. He's up to 10th. So welcome back into the top 10 on your first qualifying run. We've got 4 minutes left, and we've got some cars rushing out the pits, ready to take on their final run. But Bassett is up a 10th. So as it stands, he's going to take pole position. Can he make sure that he hooks up this last sector? Let's have a look. It's all on the chicane. If he gets the chicane right, he'll be back on pole. And look how much of the first curve you have to cut to make sure that you don't invalidate your time. And it is a pole. It's a 10.6. That's massive from Bassett, and that's going to take a lot to dislodge. I think Alex going further down in the rank. He's down to 5th, and there's nothing he can do about it. Kazingle on his outlap will be trying to push into that top group. So where's Maggot on the track? He's just finishing sector 1. Kazingle's behind him. So do you know what? I think it's going to be worth watching Maggot to see if he can get ahead of Bassett. I think that's the car to watch. So let's give him a minute to get around to the start-finish line, and then we'll see if he can push forward and get back ahead of Bassett. So here he comes to start the lap. As he makes his way into turn 1. And he attacks that nicely. He takes just enough of the curb. Doesn't invalidate him, but he's been really neat and tidy so far. He's using as much of the track as possible. Now, the exit out of here is so important, and he gets it right. Doesn't turn the car too much. Trying to use a bit of slipstream from that Merc. Comes into this second to last chicane. And a lot of this track is just flat out. Oh, and he's run really wide there. I think that might punish him. Let's see if he carried enough momentum. So what can he do? It's not in the 109s. It is an improvement. It's not pole, it's second place. It's a 10-7. Let's go back to Kazingle, who's on his way round. He's not invalidated on this last lap, but it's not good enough, I don't think, if the timing is right. So I wonder if he's starting again. Who else have we got? We've got Guna, who seems to be improving. Who else can knock this pole sitter off? Rishi, he's on his way round. Just coming out of sector 2. And he puts in a purple second sector, and he is 2.5 tenths up on his time. That's going to be more than enough. Huss has retired from the session. I think he's done with his qualifying session. He's back in the pits, and here comes Rishi. Got to hook up this chicane. Cut the first one. Lovely. Does it really well. This is going to be very, very close for pole. I think he's going to take it. Oh, he's second. It's a 10-7. So Bassett in control currently. What's Felix doing? So he's just a half a tenth up, which not quite enough, but he's got plenty of the lap left to go to try and make this happen. So let's stick with him. So on his way down to the chicane, and again just needs to cut more of that first part of the corner. It's not enough. He's let off the gas, so that's him finished. And in fact, I think that's pretty much everyone finished. Is Connor still able to put on a time? No, he's in the pits. What about Bassett? He's coming down to see if he can improve this. And he's taken too much of that corner and gets sideways and his wheel's gone. Bye, Bassett. See you in the race. You've got pole anyway, my friend. So that's the order then. So Bassett to take pole, Rishi in second, very close qualifying this one. Maggott in third, Felix in fourth, Kazingle in fifth. Those Aston Martin guys are doing really, really well to try and take this championship battle to the end. Benny Bruno in sixth, so good return drive for him. Alex in seventh after retiring early. Gunnar in eighth. We then got Relia in ninth, two brothers next to each other on the grid. Cav in 10th. Marshmallow in 11th, Althanshu 12th, TJ Stewart 13th, Huss 14th, Evan in 15th. Not the best qualifying from him considering his pace improvement over the weeks. Malak Donkey 16th, Calixos 17th, and then Connor in 18th. So that's your order. I believe tonight is actually a sprint race, you know. Let me just double check. And if it is a sprint race, then that means that is pole and will determine where you start in the sprint race. The sprint race will then determine where you start in the main race. Let me just check it is a sprint race. Pretty confident it is. It is a sprint race. So 33% of the laps that we will race in the main race will then happen now. Oh, and that's what they were talking about for the weather. Woof. Here we go. We saw a lot of fun in Hungary in the rain. So let's see what these guys can do in full wet conditions. Looking forward to this. And I wonder if any of them have done any practice in the rain. If they have, you'll be able to tell who those people are, I'll tell you that. So the drivers are just selecting their setups, and then we'll get underway. They'll go on a formation lap, and then the sprint race will get underway. So Bassett is about to set himself up on the grid. As you can see, he's pointing himself towards the outside of the track just to cover off any move that Rishi might put on him. So let's see how this unfolds. I think a couple of other cars behind him are also pointing that way, because as you can see from his view, the track does sort of curve off to the right. A couple of people DNFing, that's all that means is that they've missed their grid slot. Let's get rid of the menu so we can see a better camera angle of the start, and the lights are coming on. 5 lights, out they go, and it's a slow getaway for quite a lot of people there, but Bassett, and you can see Rishi is just sliding sideways, and there's the Ferrari sort of cut across them. I think they all got tangled. So Maggot's taken out Rishi, and who else was that? And that's going to be an immediate safety car. Who's been involved? Wow, we've seen, and those 3 that are out at the back are not even the 3 that we saw going into the wall. So it was definitely Rishi, it was definitely Maggot, and I'm not sure who the 3rd car involved in that was. Let's see if we can pick it up through the intervals. It's a full safety car, not surprisingly. Can we figure it out through this? So Rishi, we know, lost a few places. Maggot, Alex is down 2, but I don't think he was high enough up to be involved in it. It must have been Benny. Benny was up there. So Benny must have got caught up in it, and I wonder if Reliot and Connor just were passengers to it, because I mean, it came out a long way into the track because there were 3 cars going into a wall that was only a car wide. So yeah, disappointing for those 3 to be out, but outside of that, Kazingal up 3 places, Guna up 5, Guna, that's a major start for him. Cav up 4, that's a big start for him as well. Felix is down a place, but not too much damage done considering the mess at the start, so being on the left hand side of the grid was a blessing in disguise. Athanshu's up to 6th, TJL Stewart. As Athanshu's out, what's happened there? He's lost it around the chicane. Where is he? Oh, he's lost it on the Wall of Champions, look. On the exit. Wow. Huh. Wow, what a sprint race so far, isn't it? We've had about 50 metres of racing. So Athanshu's out. We've got a couple of guys pitting. Alex has gone in, Rishi's gone in, so you'd assume they've all got some wing damage. And some big shakers and movers. A lot of people making a lot of places. Well, what an interesting start that was. And now we've got a little wait behind the safety car. And we'll crack on as soon as we are ready. So the Ferrari's just catching the back of the pack now, so I'm hoping that the safety car will go in at the end of this lap, and it will. So we'll get racing again with only 14 drivers. We've lost 4. And I think that was mainly caused by that mess we saw just moving into turn 1. So yeah, Bassett will take control of the pace of the race whilst he waits for the safety car to disappear off into the pits, and then he will get going again. Let's join on off board to see if we can see any action that goes on behind as they're coming up to the chicane. I'm assuming that he'll get through the chicane and just get going because it's low traction there, so no one will want to push too hard. But Kazingal looks like he's had a great restart. As Guna looks like he's dropping back slightly. Cav is dropping back from him, and Felix is all over the back of Cav, but decides against making a move. Let's jump on board and look backwards. Can't see too much. Looks like everyone's been pretty sensible. I think they know that there's bigger prizes later in the race. 12 laps, that's third distance, so we must have about 36 racing laps in the race. And we're on board with TGL Stewart, who again had oh, he's gone sideways. He's kept out of the wall. Oof, God, good save, Stewart. Good save. That was caught on camera. That'll be good to watch back. So yeah, great save. Felix looks like he's trying to put a bit of pressure on Cav up ahead, and I think Cav, from memory, had a good race last week, and Felix gets a bit happy with the curbs there. We've got Rishi and Marshmallow at the back of the pack having a little scrap. You can see that even the two in front, Alex and Huss, are having a bit of a getting together there. Alex has managed to put a move on Huss. Huss is going to try and stick it to the inside. Alex is going around the outside. He wants to switch back, but there's too many cars there. And he clips the back of Huss. And Marshmallow goes sideways. And they're free wide. Huss gets a bit out of shape. I don't know if he got touched. But Marshmallow's come out on top and he's getting 2 places. RPM loses 2 and he's going to lose more. Rishi's on the attack. But it looks like Huss has got better straight line speed. Wonder if he's using some ERS. And Rishi's just saving a bit up here as we're trading fastest laps at the front of the field. Seen some really good racing so far. Come back in to the back of the pack a little bit as things get a little bit spaced out up front, and Evan seems to be the biggest sort of a Kazingle. What's happened? He's sideways. Oh dear, and he's going to have to wait for it all. Look at that, he's had to wait for everyone to pass to get going again, so that's going to dent the Aston Martin chase of the constructors. And I tell you what, Bassett's going to be laughing. He's a second and a half down the road. Gunnar in second as our reserve, who always turns up to a division and stamps his authority on it. He's in second. Cav in third. TGL Stewart finds himself up in fourth. Who's already had the save of the day from what I've seen. Felix finds himself in fifth. 7/10 the gap either side of him. Kalitsos up in sixth. Evan has made his way up to 7th place. Man Like Donkey in 8th. Marshmallow with a time penalty all over the back of Man Like Donkey. Let's stay on board with him and see if he can put an attack down Man Like Donkey. And if you're going to do it, try and do it before the chicane. Please don't do it after the chicane. And yeah, wisely waits. And if you get the exit right here, as Bassett puts in the fastest lap of the race, if you get the exit right, and you can just see they just want to tiptoe around there. And Alex gets on the grass on the exit, and yeah, like I was saying, everyone wants to tiptoe around there really, and I don't blame them, because that can be race ending if you get too close. We've got some more yellow flags. Who is that? And what's going on? That looks like a is that a virtual safety car? What for? Oh, Kazingle has got no wing. Struggling in the rain, my friend. Yeah, I don't think you want me to talk too much about that, but I'll get away from him whilst he limps back to the pits. But one thing I will say to you is that his car will enter the pits, and as it enters the pits, the virtual safety car will end, and that will be his sprint race over. I'll tell you what, it didn't even wait for him to get to the pit. Look, he's only halfway around the lap. So Bassett in full control of this race. And we'll pick up, I think it's 8 points you can get as Marshmallow's made a move on Man Like Donkey. Look at them into the hairpins, scrapping away. Marshmallow's got the outside line, so he might pick up some better traction down the straight, and yes, he does come out in front, so gets the move done. He's got a 3-second penalty, so needs to try and clear as many people as possible to give him the best chance to start in the top 10 in the main race. We've got Cav that's out now, look at that, and from the Wall of Champions, good camera angle there. Poor Cav. He was having the best race he's had all season, and puts himself in the binners. We've got Alex trying to make a move on Man Like Donkey. Forces his way down the inside. That looked like a nice, clean move. As now Huss getting really close to the back of Man Like Donkey. Everyone is, again, got to be ever so careful not to lose your wing or push someone else around. We've also got Rishi, who we know is quick, at the back of the field, and has he hit Huss? Well, that'll be Huss out. I wonder if there was some contact there. I didn't have the right angle to tell you, but I'm sure that we'll find out through the stewards if there was anything there. But Rishi's wing looks okay. Doesn't mean he didn't hit him, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt until we hear otherwise. And that is going to be another full safety car, which is not great news for Bassett, but I suppose the one thing it does do is take laps out of the race for him. So as Kazingle gets a drive-through penalty for driving too fast into the safety car. So if his sprint race wasn't over, it is now. And we always get 2 laps of racing at the end of a session. So by lap 10 at the very latest, this safety car will come in. Looks like the car's been cleared away, so hopefully it won't take that long to get going. But Bassett firmly in control. We've got Guna in second, who's riding the Williams today. Stewart finds himself in the top three, and showing what he can do. He had some really strong pace at the start of the season, and will be disappointed not to have picked up more results. I expected a lot from him this year, but just struggled in the middle part of the season. Felix finds himself up to fourth after a great qualifying session. Kalitsos up to fifth. Evan in sixth has found out quite a few places. Marshmallow, the safety car is not good for him. He was making his way through the field, but that penalty is going to cost him. Alex up into eighth, so great recovery from him. And Sinner, a couple of good overtakes from him. Man like Donkey in ninth. His teammate Rishi, who's a reserve, in 10th. Maga in 11th after a dreadful start. I mean, seemed to get hooked on the side of Rishi, and well, that was that. That was three cars trying to get into the same space on the track. And then Kazingal, who's not had the most luck so far tonight, as he tiptoes his way around and tries to catch the back of this pack, and we'll leave him be to do that in his own time. So we'll join the back of Bassett. We'll wait for the safety car to come in, and then we'll continue with the race in action. Safety car is going to come in this lap. So again, Bassett will take over the pace of the race. The way he goes out the final chicane, is everyone behaving themselves back here? We've got a move going, TGL Stewart on Guna. Is Guna going to hold his own into turn one? I think he is, but Stewart gets round the outside, so that is a place gained for Stewart and a good move. Takes advantage of the restart, so Stewart up a place. Felix now trying to put some pressure on Guna, but again just holds off Kalitsos. Just needs to be careful with... looks like Felix is just braking a little bit earlier to make sure he makes the corner. Rishi's putting some pressure on Alex already. Not getting the best camera angles of these, so I'll do the best with what I got. But Rishi really getting on the exhaust pipe of Alex here, and it's all about the exit out of here, and Rishi just looks composed out of there, but Alex does get better traction in the end and drives off down the straight. Maggot's behind him trying to put pressure on. Kazingal's behind them. I think Kazingal from memory actually has is it a drive-through? Yeah, it is. So he's going to have to come in and serve that at some point, which is just going to put him out. But he tries the move, which is bold, but he gets it done. and he comes into the pits. Just has to be careful not to hit anyone. But let's get back to the front, because Stewart now is putting some pressure on Bassett. He's 2/10 back. Marshmallow's made a move on Kalitsos, and that's really important for his race. He needs to get as far ahead as possible. As Rishi now picks up a 3-second penalty, so he's obviously pushing a bit hard. But yeah, Marshmallow's got to make as many places as he can. I think it's a 3-second penalty he holds. Yeah, so and Maggot now picks up a 3-second penalty, so it's getting better for Marshmallow as long as he doesn't pick up another 3. Yeah, so he will drop back a few places on the grid if he doesn't make up some time. So he will be getting his head down. Bassett now seems to be sorting out Stewart behind him and just increasing that gap that little bit further. It's getting towards a second. DRS doesn't matter right now, because he's about 8 tenths down the road. DRS will not be opened during wet conditions, and the field seems to have sort of settled down a little bit. Got Maggot maybe putting some pressure on the back of Rishi, and you can see they're so close to touching there. All 3 of these, again, all 3 quick drivers, and Alex has really got to do well to not make any mistakes this week. He's a solid driver, but if he cuts the mistakes out, he's got championship credentials about him. All 3 of these guys have, to be fair. And Guna puts in the fastest lap of the race, but he's a second away from Stewart, so Marshmallow takes his crown straight off him. And this is the closest battle you're going to see on track so far. We'll keep it on the onboard cam, because as Alex gets sideways, and as I was talking about mistakes, there is another one, and that's going to let Maggot through as well, so that's 2 places dropped. But it's not the end of the world for him, because the 2 in front of him do have 3-second penalties, so this is the last lap, so he's just got to stay within touching distance. He doesn't have to do anything silly. And where does it put Marshmallow? So he would probably drop to 6th by the look of it, because Evans 3 seconds back from Kalitsos. So Marshmallow's done a fantastic job with those penalties of just getting far enough ahead to maintain as many positions as possible. And the guys at the back of the field have got a lot of work to do. It's almost going to create the reverse grid effect. So yeah, let's see how we get on. Let's join on board with Bassett. He's going to be the first to take the checkered flag, as long as I haven't jinxed him. Do not put it in the wall of champions, please, my friend. He's on his way down to the final chicane now. Takes it nice and carefully. Thank you. Didn't jinx you. Stewart gets a bit sideways, as you can see behind, but Bassett, first half of this race completed, puts in the fastest lap. Stewart comes over in second, Guna third, Felix fourth, Kalitsos fifth. Great result. Marshmallow did a very good job getting up to 6th. He will start in the main race. Evan in 7th, Alex in 8th. Good recovery drive from him. Rishi and Maggot dropped to 9th and 10th because of their penalties. Man Like Donkey 11th, and Kazingle, well done for finishing, my friend. And he tries to spin it over the line. Couldn't even do that right. And he ends in 12th. So, well, crazy session. It was a wet session. And looking forward to seeing more of that in the race. Wonder if it will be raining in the main race as well. I think it probably will. But we will find out very, very shortly. So just a reminder, Bassett in first to start the main race, Stewart in second, Guna third, Felix fourth, Kalitsos fifth, Marshmallow 6th, Evan 7th, Alex 8th, Rishi 9th and Maggot 10th. Just a reminder, I think the main event happened really 50 metres from the line, where we just saw the Ferrari of Maggot and the Red Bull of Rishi get tangled and took a third car out. I think it was Benny Buno who hit the wall, was just a bit of a passenger to it all. And I think that must have caused the collision further back. So that is your order for the start of your race. So we'll wait for the drivers to set their cars up ready for the first race. For the main race. They'll go on their formation lap, and then we will get racing. So look forward to seeing what the weather's like. Ooh, it looks sort of into weather. It's like in between. I wonder if that the track is dry enough to be straight on slicks. But we'll find out when the guys set their setups up. track looks pretty dry, and I think we have got some white and some yellow striped tyres, which means we are slicks for the race. And do you know what? I think Stewart's actually gone mediums, which is the opposite of what he's been doing all season. So I wonder if it's considered the alternate strategy around Canada, or maybe he just wants to get off the line and get out into the lead. Maybe that's his thought process. But Bassett's on the hards, Stewart on the mediums, Gunnar on the mediums, and then we've got Felix, Kalitsos, Marshmallow on the hards behind. We've then got Evan and Alex on the mediums. Rishi, interestingly, goes for the softs. I wonder if he'll try a soft hard. But I think he's going to want to make up some places quickly. Maggot in 10th. He's on the hards. Man Like Donkey, Kazingle, Hurst, Cav, Fanshu, all on hard tyres. Connor goes for the mediums. Benny on the hards. Relia on the mediums. So different strategies there. We'll keep an eye on Rishi, because he is he's the man with the quick tyres on. But Bassett leads them round on this formation lap to warm their tyres up. And then we'll get underway. So they're all lining up on the grid. Bassett again shapes his car to point to the inside of the track. And here come the lights. 5 on. A long wait, and away we go. Bassett looks like he's got off okay. Stewart looks like he's done a very good job of getting off the line quickly as well. He's going to put some pressure on, but I think Bassett's far enough ahead now. Can Stewart keep it round the outside? No, Bassett covers it off. So I don't think there's too much to talk about so far. Nothing looks like it's going on back further down the field. Let's just drop back a bit and see if there's any action. We've got 2 cars side by side here, which is the Mercedes and McLaren. The Mercedes gets out just in front. Kalitsos and Marshmallow, that was fighting. We've got Benny Buno, who's made his way past Connor Havoc further down the field. And I think everyone's just about sorted themselves out. Will there be any lunges down into the end of Sector 1? There won't, as Bassett has dropped a place to Stewart and missed it. So Stewart must have got a very good exit out onto the back straight as Relia gets past Evan. So Stewart takes the lead of the race, and I think that's what he would have been aiming for by going onto those medium tyres. He's going to now want to stretch this out as much as possible and put some pressure on those behind to keep up. So great start from Stewart. This is what we saw from him in race 1 of the season. Putting pressure on on the other competitors early, and you can see that the strategy is a hard medium. You can do hard, medium, soft. So I mean, I can't really see that Rishi will make those softs go to a soft hard unless he really protects those hard tyres. But Connor Havoc is straight in the pits, so I wonder if he's picked up some damage. We've got Gunnar, who's 4 tenths back, and then we've got a big gap. Felix struggling to keep up. He's about a second back already, and there will be DRS in the session because we're on the dry tyres. So Felix is in his own race here. Kalitsos has got a bit of a train behind him, and that is Marshmallow, the first to put pressure on. Rishi on those soft tyres will be very quick, and he will be wanting to get on with it, but he's letting Alex get on the back of him, and Alex isn't close enough to make a move. But Bassett has dropped back another place. Oh, how have we missed that? Gunnar has powered his way past down that straight, and Bassett, I wonder if he's struggling for straight line speed. Let's stick on board and watch. Let's see if Gunnar pulls away from him down here. And to be fair, he hasn't got the best of exits, so I don't know if this is going to be the best time to tell you whether that's true or not. And he seems to be catching. I know he's got the slipstream. He's not using any ERS, so No idea what's happened there. I wonder if he just got out of shape, because that is one of the corners that you can struggle on, and Rishi's really putting some pressure on now out of this final chicane of the lap. He's not going to be close enough to get the move done. Alex is a little bit further back, so we'll stick on board with him so we can see what's in front. And he tries to stick it down the inside of Rishi. I think Rishi, but no, Alex has got into a little bit of a spin. That's where Alex has just got to be a little bit more patient, and he will pick up better results if he does so. As Benny Buno, I think, has spun it out of turn 2. So he's now towards the back of the field. So, yeah, for me, that's where Alex has really got to improve his game. He didn't need to take that chance there. And that's a McLaren round. Rishi's round. They've done well to avoid it. Wow, neither of them are out, but there was definitely a collision. Maggot goes past a really slow Alpha, and there's contact. What's going on? There's yellow flags. People shouldn't be overtaking. I have no idea what's happening, but Maggot is getting barged off the road under yellow flags. We've got Reliot just in behind all of this, watching it and thinking, what's going on? We've got Huss making a move now on Maggot, but Maggot gets really good drive out of the exit. Wow, what a couple of minutes. We were on board with the right people at the right time. Huss is now trying to have an attack back at Maggot. He's looking down the inside into the chicane, but decides not to. Gets a little bit out of shape and probably won't be able to attack now. Can Maggot get onto Cav? No, I think there's just too much of a gap there. So, what an interesting few corners we saw there. And there's some rain starting to fall, if you could see that from the front of Maggot's car. So, when people were saying, I have no idea what the weather's doing, I think that answers your question. Whatever it wants. So we've got 4 guys in the pits now. Rishi, Marshmallow, they were the 2 that had the contact. Connor is back in. I don't think he's done a lap without pitting yet. Arthanshu is also in the pits. So those 4 will be at the back of the grid. Let's see if we can see what Rishi comes out onto inters. So they're obviously expecting some rain to come. And he's thinking, well, if I'm going to pit anyway, I might as well do it now. And we've got 2 people fighting behind, which is Reliot and RPM. Or Huss, as he likes to be known. I think Huss has just about got the straight line speed. Haven't seen any of the leaders come into the pits for inters yet. It's not quite there. Rain's not quite heavy enough at this stage. And you can see there's quite a lot of caution being taken into that chicane. But Evan has found an opportunity here to try and take Reliot. This is for 11th place. And he does throw it down the inside. He keeps the car in a straight line. But Reliot has the momentum around the outside just to keep that place. Man like Donkey just trying to close the gap to the 2 in front. As Maggot has now seems to have created a bit of a gap to Huss. So that was important that he kept his position. Cav is a 2.5 up the road. Kazingle has found his way up into 7th, so a great recovery drive from him. As Kalitsos looks like he gets a little bit sideways. And again, he's made some big improvements to see him where he is at this stage. Alex is in 5th. So actually benefits from the fact that Rishi and Marshmallow came together after making his own mistake, and Felix up in 4th has really managed to attach himself to the back of Bassett now, so he's up with this leading group. So interesting that people went for the hard tyres, considering, and look, Bassett must have high downforce, because that is far too easy down the straight for the Aston Martin. And Maggot and Alex are both out the race. What's happened? Where has it happened? It's out of the exit to the hairpin. So I think Benny is probably the closest car to see this. As I said before, Alex, I have no idea who's at fault, so I can't really say a lot, and the cars are all over the place. They've made their own chicane. And is this a virtual? This can't be a virtual safety car. Is that the actual safety car? And you can see all the leaders are diving into the pits. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the safety car's out, but it's not picked up the leader. So, and that might just have slowed down these guys that are still out. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see whether, I think Kalitsos was the first to pit, gets on the inter. So we'll have to see if he comes out in front of the race here, because I think these guys got a little bit held up because of the safety car, but I think the Delta would let them undo whatever damage that caused. So as Stewart does come in the pits, and so do the 3 behind him, which makes a lot of sense. But let's see if Kalitsos... I don't think Kalitsos is going to make it. He's just halfway down the straight, so Stewart's already his way out, and these 4 will maintain their position, I believe. So yeah, I think the Delta let them undo the damage that could have been caused by that safety car. Probably a good time to start reviewing the division situation, because there's a sorry, just trying to get the standings up so we can have a look at where people are. Here we go. Where are we in Division 3? So we've got Bassett at the top of the table. Looking good to pick up a good haul of points here again today. He is on 118 points. Maggot is in second, who currently is out. Will not pick up any more points today. Nicky Lauda is not here, I don't think. No, he's not. So he won't pick up any points. So Bassett's in for a great night. Rika's in fourth. I haven't seen him here tonight. No, he's not. So Bassett is the only one in this title challenge that's going to pick up some points today. Felix is in fifth on 71 points. So you would think he's too far back really to... especially if Bassett picks up points, he wouldn't be able to win the championship. But Felix is in third. Gunnar is currently in sixth on 65 points. Wardy in seventh, who again I don't think he's here tonight. We've got Not Rishi in eighth on 51 points. Kazinkel in ninth on 47 points, and then Marshmallow in 10th. Let's try and find the constructors. So we've got the Alpha Tauri team out in front on 144. It's actually neck and neck with Ferrari on 144. So there's only one Ferrari left and only one Alpha Tauri on the track. So this is a big day for Aston Martin. So Mercedes are on 119, and they've only got one full-time driver here, which is Huss in 10th. But Aston Martin on 118 points. If they can keep their drivers in that... in those positions, that will be big gains on that constructors title. So yeah, they'll be looking to hang around. So I don't think the safety car's in yet, but Gunnar... Oh, what's happened to Stewart? Where's Stewart gone? What did he do? I didn't see that. He must have made a mistake out of the hairpin. So Gunnar takes over the lead of the race, Felix in second, Bassett in third. Well, well, well. And Stewart and Kazinkel don't know what positions they should be in here, I don't think. Has Stewart gone in? He has, he's gone in. Wow. Oh, wow. I'd love to know what he's done. He's not going to come out on dry tyres, is he? I mean, it's still raining. He made a mistake because he wasn't in first out the exit of the corner, but yeah, he's put on more inters, so it's not like it's going to be a change of weather anytime soon. Well, well, well. Reliot with a drive-through, must have been over the Delta. But anyway, Gunnar takes over the lead of the race, Felix in second, Bassett in third, and that just makes the Aston Martin boys that little bit... gives them a bit more of a chance, doesn't it? To just close that constructors title. So Guna taking over the race pace, and he goes early. Felix has done alright to keep up there, and Bassett is on the back of Felix as well. Just too scared to get on the power too early, and I think it's sensible. You don't want to lose it on the restart, and there's a car at the back of the field. Evans gone, so that's the two Ferraris gone now. So Aston Martin and AlphaTauri are right in this constructors battle now. The two Aston Martins just need to make sure they don't finish any lower than where they're at the minute, and there's a big gap opening up from behind Cav, so that protects the Aston Martins. Just keep it neat and tidy. Rishi at the back is trying to make some inroads as Marshmallow and Man Like Donkey. I think Man Like Donkey actually improved there and got through a few, but he's made a mistake, and that's let three cars through. So that's bending Buna up into 9th, Huss is up into 8th, Marshmallow 10th, Rishi 11th, TJL Stewart 12th after the mistake under the safety car, and TJL Stewart's putting some pressure on Rishi here, and they're side by side into the chicane, but Stewart just has to pull out of it, and Rishi keeps the place. And can't get a very good camera angle of that, so doing the best I possibly can for you guys. As you see them both coming down into the hairpin, Stewart's not close enough to chuck anything down the inside there. So we're all pretty evenly spaced out. Just under a second most of the way down the grid. TJL Stewart's probably the closest man on track, and probably not going to be close enough to make a move into the chicane. But it's all about the exit here. Is Rishi going to be brave? Is Stewart going to be brave? Stewart keeps hold of it. Reliot is serving his drive through. No one here looks like they're going to be close enough to make a move, and I think the field is starting to spread out a little bit. I think this group that we're watching now is probably where we're going to see a lot of the action, if we're going to see the action. But Kalitsos is hanging on to the back of Bassett. Like I said before, I think Bassett must just be running some really low downforce to try and sort of take advantage of the rainy conditions, but it's not really wet. It's into weather, and you can run a little bit higher wings, or lower downforce, I'll say, when it's in this sort of midway sort of range between wet and dry. And it doesn't look like the rain's getting any heavier. It's still coming down, but it's going to keep the track a little bit wet, but I would assume that it's going to dry up at some point. And Man Like Donkey now dropping quite a way back, but Kazingal looks like he's going to put some pressure on Kalitsos, and that looks like a really good exit out of the final chicane, and he's going to get his Urs on as Kalitsos tries to make him go the long way round, and I think Kazingal's going to make the stick. He does. He gets the inside line, switches it back to the inside line for turn 2. And he's just washed out a little bit wide, but Kalitsos has got to be careful. There's not a huge amount of traction on the inside of that corner, and Kazingal gets a very clean move done. So from a really troubled sprint race, Kazingal has really recovered his drive, and he's back up into 4th. And that's Huss out. What's happened? And it's just round this next corner, so be careful. He's on the left-hand side of the track. He must have hit the wall and gone onto the grass. That is another safety car coming out. So we're going to have a couple of laps as Connor picks up a drive-through penalty now for speeding under the safety car. A lot of people doing that tonight. Don't know why. So while we let the cars just follow the safety car around the track, I don't think we're going to see any pit stops, because it wasn't that long ago we came in for inters. We're a third of the way through this race. It might be good just to recap what happened in Hungary, which was a crazy last couple of laps, really, which really spiced the race up. So let me just get the results from the last race. So Sheba won it after taking a gamble on Inters just as the safety car, or when the safety car came out, and as the safety car went in, the rain hit heavy and Sheba ran off into the distance on those Inter tyres. Bassett reacted quickly to come second. He went in for Inter tyres. Huss came third on the podium. Again, he reacted quickly to get on the Inter tyres. Cav had the best result he's had all season in fourth. Maggott then recovered into fifth. TGL Stewart came sixth, Evans seventh, Rika in eighth, Felix in ninth after being right up in those top three places most of the race. Not Rishi had led and dominated the race for so long. Didn't pit for Inters and it cost him into turn one. Nicky Lauda came 11th, Kalitsos was 12th, Marshmallow 13th. Kazingal, after being up there as well, came 14th in the end, and he was the last car that came across the line to finish the race. So Guna's just trying to keep his tyres warm. He's got Felix behind him, and then our championship leader Bassett in third. So for the Aston Martins, if they could get Kazingal ahead of Bassett, and as I said, Bassett's seems to be running a lot of downforce, which is making him vulnerable in the straights. So if Kazingal can find a way through there, that will just propel the Aston Martin boys above them for the championship places, and they've been really strong in these last 3 or 4 races. And I'm going to moan again because Felix was my teammate last year and he barely blooming raced, and when he did race he didn't finish. So goes and gets a new teammate. I gave Felix a heads up that Kazingal was a great up and coming driver, and he goes and performs for him. So good luck to him though, to be fair. Want to see him do well. He helped me a lot when I first joined the league. So good luck to him. But Guna as well, been absolutely dominant since I've joined this league. And he leads this race in Canada and gets us going again. And Felix is about half a second back. Bassett was a little bit asleep. He's a second back. And Kazingal, well, he's about 5/10 back, but there's a bit of a mess behind. Benny Buno is losing some places. I wonder if he got a bit sideways out of the last corner. And we've got Rishi under pressure from Stewart, watching behind. Stewart gets the inside line, but it will become the outside line for turn 2. Rishi keeps his place. He loses a bit of traction, but Stewart can't do anything about it. But now we've got Benny Buno making a move, and he's going to be on the inside line. He gets the place. He makes the move stick. And I think Stewart is going to put Rishi under some pressure. And he's got the move done. How's he done that through there? That's great racing. Stewart seems to have come alive in the wet conditions. He's now all over the back of Cav, and look how aggressive he's driving. He just seems to have so much more confidence than anyone else. And he's side by side with Cav. We did see him pull out of a move down here earlier, but he looks a bit further in front here. Takes a lot of the chicane. Cav keeps his place. Rishi's trying to find a way around the outside. Can't quite see, it's 3 wide. Rishi might just take both of these places back, but Cav covers him off. Cav's now got the inside line, which is cutting Stewart off. Who's going to come out on top on this battle? I don't think Rishi is going to be able to force his way through, and we are as we were. Cav, Stewart, Rishi. Good bit of action. Have we got an overtake into the chicane? No, we haven't. Marshmallow is... I think he got in front of Kalitsos down the straight actually, but he's picked up a penalty as well, so he's got some work to do. But these front 4 still within touching distance of each other. We'll keep an eye on Kazingal's gap because it's nearly at a second. Bassett seems to be putting a lot of pressure on Felix, so this could go the opposite way for them if Bassett gets past. So got to be careful of that. But Gunnar seems to be creating a nice little buffer for himself. It's about a second and a half away as Kazingal just gets a little bit sideways out of that corner. But these four look like they're in a different league at the minute. But I think if we had Stuart and Rishi a bit further up the field, I think we would have more than just these four. But they're really struggling to get their way through the field without coming across some problems. So let's see what happens. We've got Benny Buno making a move on Kalitsos. I think Kalitsos must have made a mistake there because Benny was a long way past him by the time we jumped on board, and we've got more yellow flags. Where is that coming from? It seems to have cleared itself up, so the front four still look like they're in touching distance of each other, so not sure where that was, but whatever it was, it cleared itself up quickly. Let's have a look at Rishi, who's 6/10 back from Cav, and in fact actually Bassett is the closest man. We've got TGL Stuart going past, and that must have been where the yellow flags were. I think it was Kalitsos because he's in the pits. No idea if he's changing his wings, but Bassett's a bit too close for us to go and check. So Bassett really putting some pressure on Felix now, and Felix just could even do his teammate a favour here just by holding Bassett up for as long as possible. He's not going to be particularly dangerous down the straights because of the wings that I think he's running. And again, he's just got a bit sideways again out of there, so the downforce hasn't really helped him, and this is going to pull Kazingal back into the fight for third place, and a double podium for the Aston Martins would be massive tonight. But Gunnar is taking charge of this race. He's now 2 seconds clear of Felix as we get Alfansio above Elliott now. He's made his way through. And I'll try and give you some off-board cameras, but cameras haven't been brilliant here today because I think the track's quite tight. Kazingal now putting some pressure on Bassett, and you can just see how much he's closing in, and you know Kazingal's not even using the ERS down there, so it just shows you that he's definitely running more downforce on that car. So Kazingal just needs to be patient. You can see Bassett is just struggling a little bit as now Stuart's in the pit and Rishi finds himself in the pit. I wonder if they're gambling and going on to full wets. They are, and the rain is getting heavier, so I wonder if they're just going to gamble and see if they can make something happen. I think the guys that are on Inters just want to stay out here and try and keep hold of the race, but you can see Kazingal is struggling with this, and Marshmallow finds his way through. They're side by side. Kazingal's trying to battle for that position. You've got to be careful out of here, boys. They are careful, and I think Marshmallow's just going to take this. I think Kazingal keeps the inside line, but just be careful, boys, as Marshmallow gets a bit across the front of him, but Kazingal keeps it. He's done well to keep hold of it. I don't think that was the most sensible move to go side by side through there, and I think we're going to need to see the wet tyres coming on. I think we're seeing a lot of struggles out there now, and we've got some more yellow flags. Where's that come from? It looks like it could be, I think it was Relliot. And what have we've got a safety car. Why have we got a safety car? What's caused the safety car? Was it Arthanshu? Has he got a wing? I have no idea what's caused that. We saw the yellow flags pop up, but there's nothing out here that makes it look like it should be. But this is a great time for these leaders to come in and pit, and for some reason Bassett and Marshmallow stayed out, so I'm wondering if they're hoping it's going to clear up and these boys are going to double stack. Kazingal's double stacking, it's held him up a little bit. I wonder if that'll cost him in positions. We'll find out. I think it's going to be okay for them. No, he's going to have lost out to the runners that came in a little bit earlier, but do you know what? I know he's lost a couple of places, but I think it was the right thing to do. And he's going to come out side by side with Stuart. So who keeps that place? I think Stuart is going to get it. I think he's entitled to it. No, Stuart does give it back. So fair enough. I think he must have just been ahead of him as they come through to that pit line. So Kazingal, damage limitation. It was only Kalitsos that managed to get through him, so I think it was the right decision to double stack. These guys at the front now could be in a spot of bother unless the rain starts to ease off. So the front three are staying out. And only time will tell if that's the right choice. I mean, the rain is absolutely flooding down. So the wet tyres, I think, is the right choice right now. So you'd hope the safety car is going in now. It is. So Bassett will now take control of the speed of the race, and this is going to be a very interesting first couple of laps to see whether Gunnar can go on the attack. As Bassett tries to warm those tyres up, I mean, the whole track looks like a puddle to me. So trying to warm them up is not going to be easy. But there's a big gap back to Marshmallow. If Bassett could see that, he would probably go. And away Bassett goes, and Marshmallow is not close enough to put any pressure. Benny Buno behind him gets a little bit on the grass, needs to be careful there. Gunnar is getting attacked by Kalitsos, and who's that? Is that Felix getting bashed by Kalitsos there, and well, manages to keep his place, but that looks pretty aggressive. And there's an Alpine. Who's that? Is he taken with him? It's not Kazingle, is it? It is Kazingle. Wow, what's going on? That looked very similar to the incident we saw at turn 1 in the actual race. We haven't got any yellow flags, and that's Gunnar going down the inside of Benny. It gets the move done. We've got the McLaren going a bit sideways. These Inter's drivers are struggling big time. Look at the gap that Gunnar's created already. So it's not going to be long before Felix and Gunnar gets to the lead of this race, I don't think. They just need to pick them off one by one, and I wonder if these Inter runners will come back later on, but for now the rain is still coming down pretty quickly. And I think Gunnar, if we watch this, he's going to get so much better traction out of this final hairpin. And he's already got the inside line. You can just see he's getting so much more grip. And Felix is there or thereabouts as well. Look at that. He's flying around the outside. And I think if the McLaren weren't there, he'd be having a go on Gunnar. He is going to go down the outside of him. Sorry, the inside of him. And it's going to be neck and neck going into this chicane. I think Felix has just got himself ahead. The Mercedes is going to have to go for it as well, as he gets a penalty for cutting the chicane. He had no other choice. But some good action. We've got an Alpine of TJ Stewart now putting some pressure on. There's a bit of a mess further back here. We've got Reliot trying to come through. Benny Buno finds his way through on Marshmallow, so he must have made a mess of it out of the final corner. Reliot up into 8th, Benny up into 7th, and Reliot's now making a move around the outside of Benny on the wet tyres. And he's through. So some great action here. Kalitsos is up. Bassett is falling back. It's a bit of a mess here. Bassett can't get any traction. Cav's covered off. He's got nowhere to go. The Mercedes Kalitsos goes through into 3rd. Bassett still having a scrap here. He's got TJ Stewart on the outside of him. He's got Cav behind him. No way through. And he's got the Williams of Reliot trying to find his way through. So these Inter runners are really struggling now, and the wet tyre runners are just trying to force their way through. What a race. As Bassett again looks like he's cutting the curbs. He's made a really bad mistake here by not going in for those wet weather tyres. Kazingle's recovered up to 7th. He's on the back of Reliot, and if he keeps his head down, he can make some of these places back up. And the fact that Bassett is now looking in deep trouble further down the field, this is still good for the Aston Martin drivers. Felix is actually taking the lead of the race here and is a second and a half down the road from Gunnar, so The wet tyre seems to be Felix's forte. Gunnar was controlling it on Inters. What a flicking fortune. We've got Kalitsos, who's got a penalty, but he's made his way up into third. So what a race from him. TGL Stewart is going to try and fight him and catch up to him and get that place back. And then we've got Cav in fifth, who's having another good race. And then Relia, what a recovery drive from him. I think he might have had a drive-through at some point in this race. And Kazingal, after what seemingly looked like getting taken out, has recovered back to 7th as he just has a bit of a moment there. Don't turn into the wall, boy. But yeah, he's got a 5-second gap behind him, so he just needs to keep calm now. He's got 12 laps. He's got 12 laps just to try and recover as much as he can, and he's got Kalitsos on a penalty in front. So if he can just try and pick his way through, don't do anything silly, he can still pick up a good haul of points here today. So what's going on in front here? We've got Cav, who is just looking down the inside of Stuart, Stuart's been good in the rain on the Inters and has made his way back up into 4th. This has been a very yo-yo-y race really for quite a lot of these drivers. I mean, I can't even remember myself what has and hasn't happened. But Gunnar is now closing that gap, so I wonder if he's just settled himself down, got his head back in the game. He's now 7/10 back, so he's taken half of the lead that Felix had. Kazingal's up into 6th as he runs alongside Reliot. Reliot gives him the room, and Kazingal is through. And Kazingal just gets a bit sideways there. Look at him getting... I wonder if that happened to him on the lap before, where we saw the Alpine just get caught up with him, but he's managed to do enough to keep the place. Reliot looks like he's cut a little bit of that corner. I wonder if he got a warning for that. As we have another safety car, and that's Benny, I think. Yeah, Benny's had an accident by the look of it, so it's caused another safety car. So that'll be disappointing for Felix because he was controlling that. Felix comes in for Inter, so he thinks it's a change in weather. So, well, this is going to get interesting again as Marshmallow's now DNF'd on the way out of turn 2 on his way to turn 3. So, flipping heck, I don't know what's going on here. So Gunnar now takes over the pace of the safety car. So Felix has made his way up into 4th place on these tyres, so I think the Inters probably was the right call here. So it's going to be interesting to see how Cav, Kalitsos and Gunnar hold up on the wet tyres. I'm assuming in a couple of laps time we'll start to see them fading away a little bit, but for now Gunnar gets a second gap. Cav has got a second and a half, or is a second and a half away from Kalitsos, and he's got Felix all over the back of him. So Felix is now coming under pressure from Stuart, who looked really good on the Inters earlier today, and is trying to put some pressure on. And Felix is doing everything he can to try and get past Cav, because he knows he's got to get around him, because Stuart's going to keep the pressure on. But my gut tells me that Stuart will just follow him through if he does get through. And Felix is having a look down the inside into turn 3 and can't make it happen. Kazingo has now got past Stuart, so that's massive. Stuart must have made a mistake. So that puts the 2 Aston Martins up into 4th and 5th. Bassett's in 7th. And on the wet tyres, so Bassett's been on the wrong tyres at the wrong time today. And it's really costing him. These Aston Martin drivers are going to want to try and get as many points as they can to get that Constructors' title challenge on for the last race. And Felix has got a really good exit now, so he's going to be pushing Cav down the track. And he's side by side. Got the inside line, but it's going to become the outside line. Is he going to get enough traction on the exit? And you can see Kazingle's looking to try and get involved as well. But I think Felix has made it stick. He has. He's got through. So now it's Kazingle's turn to have a look at Cav. And Cav is a little bit slow there, but Kazingle has to get out the throttle. And sensibly gets out, but Stuart's now coming back at him, and there's a car out of the race. It's Kalitsos in the Mercedes. There's yellow flags. What's going on here? Does Stuart have to get the place? I'm not sure. I think Stuart might just have had enough to be ahead of him. So it's another safety car with 5 laps to go. So we've got some more interruptions here. Kazingal managed to drop back behind Stewart, and we just saw that going on in the battle at the end there. So Guna's going to keep on with the lead of the race, but I think this safety car is not good for him really, because those wet tyres are probably not going to be the tyre of choice when this gets going, because the rain is not coming down particularly heavy. The inters looked pretty quick, and Felix then is going to be right on the back of him. Cav is going to be a bit of a blocker for Stewart and Kazingal, so they're going to have to find their way through. But Bassett is in 6th, and Rishi's managed to find a recovery up to 7th. Benny's in 8th, Connor in 9th, so if he could stay in the points, that would be great. Reliot's taken a risk on the softs. It looks far too wet for him to be on those, but good luck to him. The track looks like it's drying out pretty quickly now. The rain's not falling particularly heavily, and I wonder if that's why Reliot's taken the risk on softs. Maybe he wants to do the Jensen Button in a couple of laps. So, is the safety car coming in? Not yet. We're going to have another lap of it. We've got Reliot who's just trying to catch the back of the pack. There's no more rain falling either, so these wet tyres are going to get hot pretty quick, but there's only going to be 2 laps of racing to go, so if Guna can get a good getaway, there might be some people struggling to keep up, but you just feel that these inter runners behind are going to be able to blast it through, but we will see. I'm sure there'll be carnage. We've seen carnage nearly every single time. Every single time we've had a restart. So the safety car will definitely come in this lap, and it is on its way in. We've got 3 cars now on the softs who are just going to try something. We've got 3 people that are still out on the wets. Gunnar from the lead of the race who's got going. Felix has not got caught napping there. But I tell you what Cav has. He's second back already. He's going to have TGL Stewart and Kazinga all over the back of him. Bassett is the other guy on wet tyres, and he's already in trouble, I think. Rishi's breathing down his neck. But he's doing enough to defend so far. And same goes for Gunnar, as Rishi really tries to force something to happen here, but loses a bit of traction. But he's okay for now, as Stewart does get past Cav up into turn 3. Kazinga's now the next man to want to have a look at Cav. So I think the exit of this next corner, Cav puts it in the wall. He must have lost his rear end. He comes back on, and I wonder if Rishi's tried to go down the inside there, but Kazinga scrapes his way through, and someone's out. Bassett is out. That's huge. Bassett is out. I don't know where that's happened. Just where we saw Rishi. And Man Like Donkey seems to be caught up in it. And those soft runners are really struggling. It's not dry enough for them yet. So that's huge. The Aston Martin boys. Felix managed to get through for the lead of the race. And Gunnar is now really starting to struggle. He's got Stewart on the back of him. And do you know what? This could be an Aston Martin double podium if Kazinga can catch Gunnar. And it's been about getting on the right strategy at the right time. And Felix, could he win? Oh, it's both Stewart and Kazinga pick up penalties, which means Gunnar's in with a chance again. This is unbelievable. Kazinga does make his way through. Now he's got to find 3 seconds on Gunnar. I'm not sure he's got time for that unless the track dries out significantly. And I mean, he's got a second already. He's got 2 to find. Can he do it? Let's find out. I think Stewart will definitely do it, but they're pulling away from him very, very quickly. And Connor Havoc is up to 5th. That's going to be an amazing result for him. Cav is in 6th. Athanshu 7th. Rishi with a recovery. Benny Buno picks up a penalty. Reliot in 9th. Benny in 10th. Man Like Donkey in 11th. So it's just about getting to the end to get points here. But can Kazinga make the gap? That's the question. He's made 2 seconds already. He's got a second to make, and he's got to make it down the main straight. So Gunnar is going to be blasting out his airs. Kazinga's got to do the same thing, and probably doesn't want to scrap with Stewart, to be honest. He's got 6/10 to make up, and he's making it up rapid. Gunnar must have really struggled out the hairpin. It's not quite enough as it stands, but the time's still going up. He's got to get a good chicane. Felix is going to come over to win the race. Congratulations to Felix for his 2nd win of the season. Stewart is going to come over in 2nd. Kazinga has just about done enough. Can Gunnar close it down before the line? I don't think he can. So Kazinga keeps it. Connor gets 5th. Good run from him. Oh, but penalties has dropped him to 8th, which puts Reliot up into 5th. The brothers finished 4th and 5th. Rishi finishes 6th after an eventful race for him, and he comes over the line with no wing. What an interesting race. And Division 3 is never short of drama. And it's another race today that is full of drama. And the weather has certainly played its part in this match, or this race, sorry. So let's watch Felix coming out onto the podium, onto the top step of the podium for the 2nd time this season. He's really picked up at the back end of this year. I don't think it makes him a title contender for this year, unfortunately. But I tell you what, it does make him a Constructors' Challenger. But however, Bassett did not finish the race. That's huge for the Aston Martin drivers. It might have just given Felix an outside chance of trying to get into the main battle, but he's going to need a lot to go his way in the final race for it to happen. But congratulations to him. Stewart and Kazinga just avoid the problem of the penalty over the last chicane by getting 3 seconds on Gunnar, who had a fantastic race. And actually, no, I always do this with sprint races. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Why is it not letting me move across? I don't know. Here we go. So Felix from Stewart, from Kazinga, double podium for the Aston Martin drivers, going to put them right in the Constructors' Championship. If not, they're actually going to be leading it. Gunnar and Reliot, the reserve drivers in the Williams, 4th and 5th. Not Rishi in 6th after a troubled race. Athanshu finishes 7th. Connor Havoc, great race, came across the line in 5th, but finishes 8th. Benny Buno in 9th. Cav in 10th. good race from him. Man like Donkey 11th, and then some of the cars that will be disappointed. Bassett just never got the strategy right today. Kalitsos was doing it brilliantly and loses it on the last few laps, and Marshmallow as well lost it under the safety car, just after the safety car, so he will also be very disappointed with that. And that's the race for today. So thank you very much for joining. Hopefully come back for the season-ending race next week. And there's a big championship fight up for battle, so it'd be great to see you along with us again. But for now, thank you.